Hi everyone, welcome back to the final episode 2024 Northern Star, the floatie-boatie thing. I hope everybody's having a great time and enjoying spending time with their family and loved ones. I don't know if anyone is like me. I'm quite keen to see the arse end of 2024 and I'm looking forward to 2025 more optimistically. Some great news, boat is now up and running again. The work has been completed. I can start with some other jobs and start using the old girl. Anyhow, good end to the year. As you'll see, I had the pleasure and privilege of piping my daughter-in-law and her dad down the aisle, figuratively speaking, for the joining of two families in a very intimate and personal wedding ceremony. Anyhow, hang around to the end. Hopefully this is the start of some more exciting, more interesting footage, and I hope you enjoy. And as always, click like, subscribe, share it, do whatever you want with it. I quite enjoy making these, and it's quite a privilege knowing that people are watching them. Battery's hooked up, new cord, that's not hooked up, and it doesn't appear that the solar stuff is hooked up, so I'm going to have to work out what to do with that. No, that's all good, not taking any water aboard. There's a little bit that's left over, that's onto the lowest part of the boat. So anyway, so all done. They left me with that gear there. Coolant and some gear oil. Sam's let me know that basically wants to get a bit of running, let him know, and he'll come down and check everything again. But they were quite happy with the way it ran. Obviously he had it in gear for a bit. The only thing was what I did was I turned that lever back over to run water through the topside washdown hose, as that provides a bit of water to the cusp bearing or dripless gland. I'm not quite sure where the water's come from that I took out of it earlier, but I'll probably have a play and run it through the heat exchanger and out through the port side outlets as well, just to make sure there's nothing leaking in there. So it's all hooked up, might as well be able to use it as opposed to not use it, and have that option. But yeah, warm engine in here, I can still smell it and feel it. It's a really great feeling. So we'll come down probably on Boxing Day and we'll have a bit of a play and do some jobs. Going to install that battery there in here. I've got a device here to convert 24 volt to 12 volt. I need to work out whether whether I use that or a separate 12 volt system and run it off that with solar. I'm not sure, but I'm certainly going to have to do something around deciding. I'm going to set up a decent 24 volt solar system on the boat. Would probably make sense given the majority of it is 24 volt, and we'll work out what needs to happen from there. So this really just going to be a matter of a bit of investigation, a bit of research, and come out with a plan. Anyhow, so it's looking good, and beautiful evening. I better start wandering down towards the ferry terminal, pick my son, grandbabies, and his dog up. My first Christmas without my wife, without Megan. She was always the Christmas one in our family. I was more the Grinch, but made a bit of an effort, stockings and presents and putting a tree and all that sort of palaver up to try and make it feel a bit Christmassy for her son and for the kids. We're not planning on going anywhere. We're just going to go and have a quiet day. Down's the new visitors wharf is reopened, right next door to the Edward Fox GTC. All shags there. So it's my understanding you can pull up here and pick up and drop off, and you can't leave your vessel unattended for too long by all accounts. Right next door to the Edward Fox. See a ferry docking over there. Some beautiful vessel, Legacy, and a couple of others here, but done a good job here. So we're using this facility, agreeing to the Marina rules regulations. Maximum stay 30 minutes, can't leave your vessels unattended, can incur a charge for unauthorised berthage. If you're requiring overnight berthage, please contact the Marina office. And you'll probably be pushing it at this time of the year, I would imagine.
Therapy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, eh? That tally is off. I was talking to the chap that owned this old girl. He didn't know who had actually built her, but this was his primary form of transport in the Sounds where he lives, to and from this area for work. Really interesting talking to him. He was from one of the families, or original families, from Havelock, and yeah, it was great having a chat and catching up. See you out there on the water. Things I love about the Sounds are the moody weather changes that you get. From 1 minute to the next, it can be cloudy and blowing, it could be rain, it could be a beautiful, beautiful day, and with no wind whatsoever, particularly in winter. Motor and everything in Northern Star is back up and running, as you've probably seen. If you hung around until now, it's pouring with rain out there, so I'm going to have a look at this old outboard here. It was a gorgeous wee Yamaha 4-stroke. It was my father's trolling motor, trout trolling motor. Very little use, and then freshwater use only. It was a long time in storage. I got it back from my son, fired it up, second pull went perfectly. I then noted that the water wasn't pumping around, so I pulled the bottom of the outboard off to check the impeller, which was fine. I then mucking around, had to tip the engine upside down to get the shaft back into place. Couldn't get it going again. Well, I monkeyed around with it. I played with the fuel air mixtures on the carburetor, stuffed that up. Should have left it alone and gone to the next obvious thing. Tank was full of crap, and it had sucked through crap into the carburetor bowl and blocked the needle up. So I washed that out, sorted the carburetor out, eventually got it going again and mucked around with the oil and fuel air mixtures and got it all running again. So anyway, motor was running really nicely. It's great having a tender motor, not rowing. Took some of the family and grandbabies and over to Lochmara, tied up onto a mooring, some people we know over there, and spent the day in the sun on the beach with the kids in the water, having a few beers and all that palaver. A little bit choppy. My son, God bless his cotton socks, was ferrying people back and forwards back to the boat when we were going to leave. Ended up having a whoopsie, outboard out of the water, full noise, got it switched off, got it started again after that, then died, couldn't get it going, and haven't been able to get it going since then. I initially thought he had fried the electronic ignition, so I replaced that, put a new one in there, replaced the spark plug lead as well, and all that sort of thing. Got to let that squared away. Still wouldn't go, just no life whatsoever. So from that point I pulled the spark plug out and the lead. Yep, definitely spark there, that's not a problem. These little outboards are so simple, as most people know that have anything to do with them. The obvious problem then is fuel. So I think what's happened, although I cleaned out the tank after being in storage for a long period of time, there was a lot of varnishy type salty yucky substance in there. I don't think I got it all out. I think ferrying people backwards and forwards on that choppy day stirred up the tank, got a little bit empty. When he hooked it out of the water in full noise, it sucked some rubbish back through, has blocked the needle valve up in the carburetor. So while it's raining out here today, I'm going to have a fiddle around and I'm going to see if that's what the story is. So I'm trying to find some room out here in this mess of a man cave that my son has taken over, and a bit of space on my workbench, so excuse the mess, and I'll pull it to bits and we'll have a look. Right, I didn't want to bore you with undoing screws. Oh dear, look at that. Look at the rubbish in there. So rust and that, and I would say that's out of the tank. Well, maybe if I had followed my instincts, my own advice, and thought about this earlier, I could have probably saved the purchase of a ignition part for the outboard and all the mucking around there with that. Right, so that's obviously pretty foul, to be honest. You can see in there, pretty yucky. It's rust and gunge. I don't know if you can see in there. There's pretty much gunge and rust particles and grit all through there. The bottom of the carburetor, over the bottom of the needle valve, just everywhere. So I'm going to pull that needle valve out and see what's going on and clean all this down with some brake cleaner. No wonder it's not working. While we're there, I'll take off the side inspection panels and check out the gullies and also the bellows for the fuel pump. You can see all the grit, pieces of rust and gunge all over that as well. Right, and that was what I was greeted with in there. Hopefully you can see that there, and you can see that there. That was what was inside there, so no wonder the poor old engine wasn't going. Now, that back on now. I've just spent 20 minutes looking for the wee cap and the wee spring. I found it after pulling everything off, and everything out was sitting on the bench in plain view. So yeah, search your feet first, folks. Search your feet first. Always well worthwhile, pays dividends. Right, well, that's the colour of the fuel. It was pretty much full as I topped it up trying to get it going last time. I've taken 3/4 of the fuel out. It was relatively clean. I'll use that in the mower. We'll see how this settles out and clears out, but it's looking pretty scungy. So nothing like two-stroke petrol at all. Looks more like a muddy brown puddle. Yum. That was a gunge that wasn't in suspension in that dirty fuel, and that's just the first tip out. It looks like a, I don't know what that is. It's sort of rust and all sorts of muck on that. Right. This was a crud that was in the fuel tank. With a bit of luck we might have this up and running today, which will be quite good. Just make sure that that fuel tank's nice and clean so I don't have a reoccurring issue with it and have to go through this process again. I was considering putting a little inline fuel filter between there and the carburetor. Might be a good little investment.
Got a fish or not? Now? Got a fish now?
No, not yet. You'll feel it. When it bites, you'll feel it do that. You'll feel it do that. Hold the rod properly. Put that hand up here. That's it. That was pretty much an afternoon of mucking around. Son number 3 is coming up from Oxford. This is his boat, and needed a wheel bearing replaced on the left side. The carburetors fill up with oil on these motors when they're not being used, so I had to drain those to actually get the thing to fire up and keep running. Just a wee Marlborough Dart. There are quite a few of these old boats around. Great little things, but as with a lot of these older boats and trailers, they start to show their age after a few years and need some constant maintenance and sorting out. Now, I don't know why the carburetor bowls fill up with oil. It's not as though it's been sitting around with the engine up or anything like that. I just think it's something that must just happen. It must just gradually, due to the age of everything, soak through from the oil reservoir. Great little engines, very clean burning once they get a bit of use and they've been running for a while. So a good way to spend the afternoon. Northern Star, they love the boat. It's always a bit challenging though to keep them safe and keep an eye on all of them. Son number 3 taking the opportunity to raid the fishing gear and fins and snorkel etc. stored on the boat. Bilge rat number 2 found his fishing rod, having a bit of a fish. You watch this, there's a bit of anxiety here. Thinks he's still fishing on a riverbank for trout and salmon with his father. Have a cast, there it goes. Oh, don't you love it? This is the gift that keeps giving. Thanks for watching. See you later 2024. This was the last episode for 2024. By the time you see this, we'll be well into the first week of 2025. As always, like, subscribe, share, do whatever you want with this footage. I enjoy making these and hopefully they're getting a little bit better. If you've hung around to the end now, I guess we are. Hope you had a great start to the new year. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
You can do it when Tally gets off. That's enough.
Throw yourself off the boat.